Hello, today I'm building in Henford on Bagley, and it's been like over a week since I've been able to upload because I've been sick with the flu. And I'm sure you could kind of still hear that my voice isn't 100% there, but I'm like so frustrated because I just want to like go back to my normal routine. It's been like over a week now. Like, I guess I got sick like last Saturday and so now it's Monday and I haven't been able to upload this video and I've done a voiceover for this, but it's been like so long now that I don't remember it. And I do know that when I was doing that one, I kept having to stop to cough. And so that was like the sign that I was getting sick. And so I was like, you know what? I'll just finish this tomorrow. And then tomorrow came and I was really sick. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm not doing this at all for like, I don't know how long. So it is now, I guess, like a week later, and luckily I'm feeling a bit better. I definitely feel a little bit like strange because I've been like locked in bed for like a week now, and I'm not used to just like really not being able to do anything. Like, I haven't really even been able to play video games much. I think that when I started to realize that I was feeling a little bit better was when I was able to play more Fortnite. And that was like when I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing better than I had thought that I was doing. But yeah, this is my build that I kind of started a couple weeks ago now. And it is sort of like a Castly build. I had a reference picture on Pinterest that I used for this. So I'll pull that up so that you can like see the shape. I only did the exterior for this because at this point I really was done with building because I was just like, I don't know, even before I got sick, I felt like I needed a break from building, but I wasn't giving myself a break from building. So when I got sick, it kind of became that break for me. But yeah, here is the reference picture I was talking about. It is just exactly what you see on the screen. I don't have anything else to say about it. Picked this one out though because I liked the stairs and I liked the outdoor pathways leading over to the different parts of the build. I thought it was interesting, and so I wanted to try something. I've never done this with the roof before, but when I was like watching Mossy Sim do a build, she had that sort of roof. And so when I picked out this reference picture, I was like, oh, I could do that exact roof style now. And I didn't have the vision for that before, but I'd seen her do that for a build. And so I was like, yeah, that'll look good on this build. And I mostly just used everything from the Castle Estates kit because this was my easy build, I guess. I wanted to see what else I could make using the kit, and this was what I kind of settled on for that. I do remember the stairs being something that intimidated me a lot about this sort of build. That it's like the reason I picked this reference picture because I knew it would give me like a bit of a challenge, but the like general shape of the build seemed easy enough. But then I knew that I'd have to use platforms and stuff to create the stairs, which I usually avoid platforms when I'm building because I don't really know how to use them. And so I'm trying to like make myself use tools that I don't often use in my builds. And like platforms feel like such a simple thing to use, but I like really am reluctant to change. And so when the platform tool got added, I just pretended it wasn't there. And it's been like what, years now since it was added. And I'm only just like really starting to pick it back up again. I feel like I'm trying to remember what builds I've done recently because I've definitely used platforms around this time, like way more for like floor plans and stuff. Yeah, I think my last couple of builds used platforms inside. I know that the plushie maker's house had a little bit of a platform in the basement area where you go upstairs to a little platform and then it goes to a fake doorway. And then there was my stone cottage like swamp build, which use platforms as well as like a bedroom. So I guess I've built I now it's like a coming together in my head of like why I picked this build to do when I knew that there was platforms. It feels like a step up from doing like a couple little platforms in the interiors again and then trying to do it on the exterior, which I really don't think I've used many platforms on exteriors before. I'd have to like go through my builds, and I'm assuming that I probably did it like one time to like practice and then never again. So this is, and like I feel like I'm bragging right now for using the platforms when I literally only used like two platforms to create a little landing for the stairs. It's not that impressive, but I feel really proud of it for some reason. But I now have done most of the exterior of the build with like I'm using just all the Castle Estate stuff. Um, I decided to alternate some of the swatches. So some of the swatches have the moss at the bottom, like scattered around in between non-mossy swatches. And then at the top, I have the one that goes up to a more dirty swatch because I felt like it looked good and I wanted to play around with the different swatches instead of just having it all be the same one. I also remember when I did attempt this voiceover last week that I was kind of brainstorming what I could do as an interior for it. But I feel like now that I've had some time, well, a lot of time to think about like what I want to build the next and stuff, I don't think I'm going to do an interior for this. I think I'm just going to upload it to the gallery as is and people can make their own interior for it. And then if I ever decide, if I'm like out of ideas and I'm like, you know what, I really want to furnish that build that I had made a while ago, then I'll do that because I really didn't have a lot of ideas for like the interior. I had thought of like a museum or something, but that didn't really like seem fun for me to decorate. So I was like, I don't want to like make an interior for this. I'm just going to, this was me giving myself a break, I guess, because I really was like, I really needed a building break. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just not going to do an interior and that's enough. But it wasn't enough. I had to give myself a decent break. And I think it worked out because I am pretty excited to build again. That I know that the stuff pack has come out. That was like the crystal, I don't know the name of it, the crystal stuff pack, which I'm really excited for. And I was kind of waiting to start my friend's shell challenge until it came out. And so I could start that. I think before I start that though, I want to do a very tiny build just to test the waters again because I haven't built since I built this, which now is like at least a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, you can see that I really just used everything from the castle kit. It like I think this is a good showcase for all of the items. I mixed them in with different ivy pieces, and of course, when I start the landscaping, I use different landscape pieces and stuff. But the kit really is pretty solid for like an exterior shell. And that's about it. Like, again, the kit is a little bit disappointing that it doesn't have any, like, interior stuff or it doesn't, like, expand much when it comes to, like, wall decor, and it's really just, like, the basics that you would need to build a shell, which it's like, it works. I've gotten a lot of use out of it. I know that I've personally got my money's worth of it. I've built like, every build I've made since the kit has come out has used this exact stone wall as well as a lot of the windows and stuff, which I know that people have like more beautiful like build CC of this sort of style and people have built with this for like years using CC packs, but I don't build with CC, so this was like it feels really nice and easy to now be able to build well like this sort of style. And although this build seems pretty tiny, this really took me a pretty long time. And this is a pretty long build video too. I'm like 9 minutes in, which is, I think, like almost halfway through. It's a long one. So I couldn't imagine if this also had an interior to go with it. I that also I think added into me just not wanting to edit an entire interior either for this. Um, I wanted to add a roof piece instead of this balcony, but for some reason it kept showing up inside the walls. I'm not sure if that's because it's not a full room or not. I really don't know what happened there, but I'm like okay with having a balcony there instead. All I really wanted was something to like break up the 2 stories, and a balcony can do it, a roof can do it. The roof didn't work out, so balcony it is, but I have some more balconies around the tower and stuff too. I do add staircases into the interior. So I have like not a full floor plan, but I've got like the bones for a possible floor plan. I had also considered having like a residential area of this build, which also was too confusing for me to figure out. I was like, no interior for this. I can't do it. Um, but for like the exterior, I added a little fenced in area with like gravestones. So there's a little graveyard in this build. Um, I had a fountain over to the side here and probably a little bit against that wall because I thought it would be nice to have a fountain like flush against the wall, but there's only one fountain that is like has a wall piece to it and it didn't look good. So I had to make my own fountain using the fountain tools, which is another thing that I realized that I don't use very often is the fountain tool in this game. It's because it like never feels necessary. Because if I want a body of water, I usually just use terrain and I do a little pond. But I didn't want a pond for this because I wanted it to feel more like handmade and built and not that it's like naturally into the landscaping for this one. That's also pretty like different for me, I think, is that normally I do go with the more natural approach for builds because it seems easier and less scary for me because I could just like be like, oh yeah, this pond was here and then the pond has some rocks and then there's a bunch of grass that's overgrown around it and this build has kind of been swallowed up by some of the natural landscape and this one is not like that at all. Well, I mean, I'll see what the landscape looks like. I know I do add grass around that could be a little bit overgrown, but because this was like in the center of Henford on Bagley, like the built up town area, like this is where the bar usually is, and there's all of these like shops around and stuff. I wanted it to not be not like a natural landscape. I wanted it to be like, okay, this has been cleared for like construction of this build and like yeah it's pretty old now. It's got ivy growing up it and like the landscape isn't maintained 100%, but it's all stuff that was like planted there to specifically blend in with this build instead of the opposite way around, which is normally what I end up doing for my builds. But yeah, I am making that another little balcony and I was trying to add another one on that side, but I thought it made it a little bit too busy and I didn't want that. I was like, okay, knew that this was the angle that I liked for the picture was like the one just before this. And so I didn't want to add anything that would just like take away from that angle. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to just like keep this as it is and then just start adding more of the like exterior furnishings and stuff. But yeah, this is me trying to find a fountain to use. And I kind of liked the huge one but I couldn't size it down and it was too big for this little tiny spot on the side. And so I just use the fountain tool and I create just like a slightly rounded fountain and I just like place the normal stone trim around that is one of the defaults for the fountain tool. It's very shallow is what I'm realizing now for the fountain tool, which makes sense for a fountain. I'm not completely sold on the jets that I picked out for it. I think they look a little bit silly right now, but I haven't changed it. I'm not going to change it. It's just gonna stay like that, I guess, because I really wanted like a dramatic fountain that goes up the side of that wall, and it just didn't happen. Yeah, okay. So I put some ivy. I was gonna say, I'm like, unless I just start laying ivy on it, that does not look good. But the ivy, I think, helps a little bit, and then I just place some overgrown grass around the edges of it. I put that same grass going up the stairs of the build too, which I don't think should interfere with Sims walking at all. And even if it did, I think that there's like a good amount of the stairs that aren't covered with grass that your Sim should be fine walking up and down, but Sims like to complain about a lot. So who really knows at that point? I do place some mushrooms around too, and I decided to use that bell in that corner. That was like my way of like doing that like fountain that I was talking about, where I had something against a wall, but I didn't know what to pick out. And so I went with that bell because it matched the vibe and the colors seemed to match in really well. I think that's from the like wedding pack, I believe. Um, and then I use a lot of ivy from Get Together and Discover University. I think is like the main ones. And I believe what is that base game or is this cottage living? I have a feeling that those flowers are cottage living, but it's really hard to tell because they seem like they might be base game because I can't see the cottage living logo anywhere from when I was looking at that. But yeah, this is the fenced-in area that I turn into a little graveyard because it just spoke to me. It felt like it was fitting, and I didn't know what else to do with all this empty grass around. And I thought that having a fenced-in area would make it look a little bit more built up than like it did before. And so I just put a bunch of graves around and like a bench, and that's about it. And that was what was throwing me off too, because this leads to an area with just a lot of archways inside. And so that inside area can't really be much because it's so open. And so I was like, well, what could possibly go there besides like an art gallery? I don't know. Maybe if you have ideas for what you would like this interior to look like, or if you want to download it and you have ideas of what you're going to turn it into, I'd love to hear about it. Um, yeah, because I'm this like I feel like it's not like a shell challenge, but I struggled with the interior of this one like a lot, like clearly because I didn't do an interior for it. So I struggled because I gave up completely because I was just like, there's no way that I could do anything with this. And if I did do one, it would have been like a replica of my abandoned castle I had just recently done, like maybe a month ago now, where it's just slime puddles on the floor, grass growing through the floor, and then there's just like piles of trash everywhere. Like that's exactly what I was gonna go for an interior for this. And so I was like, I'm not doing the same thing again. Cause that's also been like bothering me with my builds lately, is that I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again for an interior. And then I edit it. And then when I edit it, I sit with the interior for like over an hour, and then I start to not like it. And so I'm like, I always have like the exteriors that I really enjoy and I really like how they came out. And then I'm like, oh, but the interior feels lazy now because I don't know what else to do with it. But now that I feel like I haven't built in a couple weeks, I think it should be okay. I think that um I might be able to enjoy an interior again. And I really don't have a solid plan of what I want to build next. I haven't been on Pinterest to look for any inspiration or anything, but I do want to use a lot of the new crystal stuff pack items, which I still haven't bought. Normally I buy packs that I'm really excited for the day that it comes out, but because I've been sick, I just like I like completely didn't cross my mind, and I knew I wasn't going to build with it. So I still haven't gotten it or anything, but I do have a plan that I'm going to buy the pack and then I'm going to stream with it. I'm going to stream a little build using all the new items whenever I'm actually 100% there because my voice right now, I feel like it's like 70% there. I was gonna say 80%, but I don't think that's true. I think that I'm like, I sound weird. And I hope that this hasn't been too annoying to listen to because I really just needed to like get back to my routine. And I just like was losing my mind and I couldn't wait any longer. And so I was like, I can talk. It doesn't hurt to talk. I just need to wait until my voice is back and maybe I can like urge it a little bit more by actually using it for once because I haven't been able to use it. I haven't been able to like speak over a whisper for like days now. So I think maybe this will be good for the voice to like actually talk. And I haven't been talking the entire time. I've been taking a lot of breaks, so I'm sure you can notice when I take a break, but I'll, like, pause, and I'll drink some water, I'll cough a few times, and then I'll wait, and I'll, like, go on my phone, and then I'm like, "Okay, back to the voiceover now, I feel ready for it," and so it's been, like I'm not going all the way through, that would be silly, and I would be, like, pushing myself too much, like, if I did that. I don't wanna push myself, I don't wanna either and I also don't wanna encourage people to push themselves when they're not feeling good. You definitely need to get the rest that your body desperately needs. But I've been resting a lot, so I don't wanna rest anymore. I'm, like, so bored. All I wanna do is just, like, get back to my little routine where I'm like, I could wake up and I know what I'm gonna do that day, and it's, like, all fine, and, like, because 'cause I've just been waking up and then I'm like, what the hell do I do all day now? I'm like, I can't do anything. I have no energy. And today is also the first day where I feel like I have some sort of energy where I'm not going to immediately have to like take a nap, which is good. I don't think that I think I'm at least like beyond the point of being sick, and I'm more so just like slowly coming back and like recovering from being sick for so long. I started rambling. I forgot what I was going on about, honestly. I don't know what I'm talking about at this point, but I did add the grass around all of the pathways leading up to the build because that's just the easy thing for me. And I like how it looked, and I feel like I do want it to be like built up, but I want it to still feel like natural because if it didn't, don't think it would really match my style very well at all. But yeah, this was the interior now of what I did for the interior. Just adding staircases around the towers are pretty useless because the stairs take up all the tower. But I didn't want to have a ladder for it because I thought that I'm like, this is such like nice stone and stuff. Like it would be really dramatic to have like all these stairs leading up. And I guess the stairs lead up mostly just so you could look out the view of the balcony up there. There's no balcony at the top floor. So the top floor I guess you could just stand there in, like, the tiny space. I guess that tower's a little bit larger. I don't know what you could put up there, an easel, if this was a museum, I guess that's where they could be painting or something. I also don't think that this video will have any screenshots at the end. I kinda changed up my, like, formatting a little bit, and so at the end of my videos, I usually will show all the interior screenshots, but because there is no interior, it'll probably just go right to, an end screen when it does get to that point. I do add different, like, light fixtures around too, so there is lighting, um, and like each part of the build is accessible from somewhere. It feels like a maze. I'd be really impressed seeing people do an interior if you do an interior, and if you like upload pictures or if you upload it to the gallery, I'd be like shocked because I feel like at this part I'm like, I did not do a very good job at like giving anyone a chance to make something that actually flows nicely. But I could just be harsh on myself for literally no reason because maybe one day I'll do an interior for this and I'll be like, "Oh, I said all of that when it wasn't even that bad." But yeah, thank you so much for sitting through me fighting for my life with my voice. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye.